Welcome everyone to another episode of Section 305, the sports show. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleagues Anthony Aguirre and Nick Dupont. How's it going, guys?
I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel right now.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sad. I told you guys I wanted to be the kryptonite to their opponents, but at the same time, was I right or was I not right?
Listen, you just look like a smart ass now, okay? It's not that you're right. You just look like a smart ass now, okay? That's just the truth. Anthony and I are the real ones suffering here, okay?
Bro.
It hurts for me as well. I was ready to celebrate.
I appreciate the Hurricanes for giving me good coverage for Roundtable Sports Network, allowing me to have good articles to publish. But this hurts so badly, man. And by the way, and I know this might sound inappropriate, forgive me, Lord, but fuck Alex Bauman.
Oh my God. That's how we're going to start the show?
I don't like
That's how we're going to start the show?
How are you a tight end and you don't block a punt?
Listen, in that scenario, I just think it was lazy I think it was just lazy special teams in general. I don't want to blame one person.
Completely.
But Hunter too, he did his run up in the end zone, and he even choked a little bit on that run.
It's just the fact that one night he didn't even bother blocking the guy, but also he literally pushed the defender towards the kicker. If you watch it closely,
I mean,
that's
things
what
happen, man. Things happen, man.
Tight end is one of the most physical positions in football, and you don't even like to get touched. Get out of here with this.
I gotta say something. I've seen some punt returners like improvise when they see they're about to be blocked or tackled. Like they made great plays just to save their teams from any bad situations. So I don't know if it's like the biggest stages and basically just following your script, which is just to kick the ball. But I've seen some punt returners like knowing something that's going to happen to them, like reading the defense, and they basically improvising and creating something unexpected to become a big play or highlight that saves the team.
Listen, we got new tight ends.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Kickers coming in. I'm excited to see what they do, but
I just think it was an overall collapse from the team. I mean, I don't even want to call it a collapse.
87, man. It's on site. It's on site, man.
I don't even want to call it a collapse of the entire team because they had such a great season, and that's the way I've been looking at it. I'm trying to be optimistic. Like a lot of us never even thought that we'd have this chance of getting here. Maybe some of us before the beginning of the season, like myself, I knew we had that potential of getting there. But for the most part, man, it's always brutal in these situations, like just being one game short. But I've been looking at the positive side about it, and I know a lot of Canes fans are probably going to be like, what is he talking about, bro? This is a beautiful step for the Miami Hurricanes organization.
It really is.
And for the school. We're going to become a next Alabama. We're going to become one of those Ohio State teams that people are going to want to play at. And, the U is here. I don't want to say it's back, but it is here. We're here.
I think you're going a little bit overboard with that, Nick.
Listen, man, I don't want to say it's overboard. We played against one of the greatest teams of all time, the top 3 all time.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, exactly. This was expected. Everyone here, except for you, Raul, obviously, everyone here expected us to win that game. And a lot of the Miami natives wanted us to win that game too, because we knew we had it. But these things happen, man, and I don't want to say they crumbled under the pressure, but just a lot of things didn't go our way that we just needed them to, unfortunately.
That's going to be our last topic for today's show. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to focus. We're going to focus in the professional and collegiate level. We're going to start first with NFL. Then we're going to go with a interesting topic. Then we're going to go with the second one with what we're seeing transpiring in the playoffs. And then we'll end it up with the collegiate level. So let's go with our first topic, which actually a lot of people, even though you guys are probably not going to be surprised because this is a big market. I've always say wherever coaches or players sign, when they're superstars or future Hall of Fame type of individuals, like they're going to trying to get into a good situation, which is like where the spotlight basically is, even if those teams have been irrelevant. We know how mediocre the Jets are. The Giants, at least they have 2 Super Bowls. I mean, 3 in their resume. The first one was when Bill Belichick was actually a defensive coordinator, and then the other 2 we've seen Eli Manning like surpass expectations with the pieces he had around. The same time, the Michael Strattons of the world being one of the best defensive players we've ever witnessed, and so there were a lot of teams that had a meeting with John Harbaugh, and what I can say before reading the headline, a lot of people at the same time as Mike Tomlin thought that John Harbaugh was going to take a time off, like a year off. So maybe this actually also creates hope that Tomlin may not be a year off being a NFL analyst. He probably will listen to offers. You never know. Money talks. You already know about what walks. But literally, like, this headline is big for New Yorkers, and this actually can be the perfect individual to turn this organization around. So the New York Giants signed former Super Bowl champion and newly head coach John Harbaugh to a 5-year, $100 million contract. Anthony, I'll give you the first word. What is the ceiling for Giants next season?
I think they have a great shot of making the playoffs now. You're seeing the Eagles collapse, at least to a certain degree, or we'll see what happens with a few of their players, especially A.J. Brown.
Collapse completely?
Not completely. They're slowly getting there. They're slowly losing everything.
They just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then they face embarrassment the following year. Like,
I mean, we've seen those scenarios twice.
Yeah,
they almost won a Super Bowl.
I mean,
they lost in the first round.
You see what the Eagles do every time they win. After they win a Super Bowl, they have a terrible season. And again, now with AJ Brown and the whole thing's going on, we'll see how they solve that out. But I like their chances in the division. The Cowboys definitely aren't doing anything great. The Commanders, will see how Daniels is after recovering from his arm injury. And so I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I'm saying this. I like their chances. I like their chances to actually compete to win it. I mean, wasn't it that before the Eagles, it was like, 20 years that no one in that division repeated as winners?
Yeah.
It took a while.
The last time somebody won that division was the Eagles, 2003, 2004, back-to-back. And the Eagles just recently did that. So, every single year, it's either the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Eagles, Giants.
That shows the dominance of that division to a great degree. I think with Harbaugh in the mix, and also, of course, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, those are great young pieces to build around. I like their chances. I think they have a chance to be really good this season. And they already have a really good defense. We'll see how Malik Neighbors can do when he returns. So I like their chances a lot. I think I will. You know what? I'll be bold to say they're going to win the division. I will say it right now. They will win the division next season.
Wow.
Listen, man.
You want to take it, Nick, or should I go?
Listen, man. That's like pretty on par. That's like on par with like Raul's take at the beginning of the year that the Giants were going to make the playoffs this year.
I gave them the expectation to be in the mixture, like in the battle. Now, did I pick to have a better record than the Cowboys? Yes, I did. Obviously, I was wrong. With that. But a lot of people with the roster seeing in the offensive side and defensive side, like that defense should have been even better than last year with all the talent that they have. So that's why Brian Daboll couldn't even last a whole full season.
Also, let's keep in mind
I know he's an offensive mindset, but still, as a coach, you need to be in both sides.
Also,
you cannot depend in. That's why you're recognized as a head coach. I know you got an offensive mindset, but you still have to do your job, accepting what the defensive coordinator basically play calls.
Let's also keep in mind that they started Russell Wilson for a few games. Imagine if they did not start him and they actually had a decent quarterback. They could have maybe won a couple more. Not saying they would have had a winning record, but maybe a couple more wins without Russell Wilson.
Anthony, like what I just said, Russell Wilson had his best game against the Cowboys since his last moments with the Seahawks. Wasn't it like 4 touchdowns? It was a defense that basically let down.
Yeah, but that was still a fluke in the end. That was still a fluke. He was not great afterwards.
True.
Nick, go ahead.
True.
You know, it's funny trying to get my take out sometimes because we just go sidetrack, and you know, I understand what I do to you guys. I get it. Don't worry. But for the most part, man, it's not a bad signing. I agree with Anthony. It's not a bad signing, but it's a very big but. I don't think they're going to have any shot of winning their division next year. You know, the Washington Commanders, I think they had a very fluke. I think there was a fluke this year, especially with Jaden Daniels just having the injury bug, unfortunately. Their defense was just old and it's collapsing. I think they're going to make some big moves this offseason to get some guys on their roster.
Especially Dan Quinn. He's still head coach. So
exactly.
He will do his adjustments.
Oh, no, he will. Of course he will. But my thing is with Harbaugh, you know, it's really about the staff and if you can get the culture right on day one, you know. And John Harbaugh has been great with developing culture and like setting his eyes with his players and like having the same vision. But this Giants team, man, is coming off of a lot of brutal injuries, and there's a lot of questions for this team in regards of Jackson Dart if he can stay healthy, if Cam Skattebo if he can stay healthy, Malik Neighbors if he can get injured. Yeah, exactly. Kayvon Thibodeau, for example, a guy who's been on the market for a while, who they're trying to get rid of, who's been trying to blossom.
Yeah.
But you know, there's still a lot of holes in this team. Like they still have a very mediocre offensive line. Their best player is Andrew Thomas, who's probably one of the best left tackles in the entire league. But outside of that, man, I can just see them being middle of the pack, you know? Like I don't really see high hopes for next season. I think next year is going to be the stepping stone year where you're going to see a lot of development from these guys and you're going to see great things. But I think the second or the third year is where you're going to see the Giants start to flourish instead of next season. I think it's too early to say that next year they're going to make that stride for the winning the division. Sorry, Anthony.
All right, so
I mean, then again, you have a leader like Harbaugh who's obviously won a Super Bowl. I mean, I just feel confident that having a new leader like him who's proven that he can actually win in this league, I think having that kind of voice is a big relief.
I mean, of course.
I think just having like, okay, you know who you're trying to build your franchise around. You still have to wait and see if you can actually be that guy in Dart. Again, injuries. There was a bunch of freak injuries, so I'll give you that. But I believe having a leader that actually has proven that he can get you to at least the promised land at some point during this 5-year contract, you hope so. I feel confident in Harbaugh being the guy.
I get it. It's funny that you say that, though, because you remind me of – I don't want to compare John Harbaugh to anybody else because John Harbaugh is his own animal and he's his own type of coach. But I'm pretty sure the Dallas Cowboys thought something very similar when they signed Mike McCarthy, you know. We got this guy who won a Super Bowl. He was great for the Green Bay Packers, you know. We're going to bring him in with Dak, who's been playing well. Now we're going to have a bunch of receivers. And what happened to the Dallas Cowboys? Yes, they had some playoff success, but ultimately I'll never forget that play where Dak on a 4th and 10 decided
playoff success.
To slide.
wait. Sorry to cut you and then basically give my take. What's this thing for that team? What playoff success did the Cowboys have with McCarthy?
Like 1 or 2 playoff wins up there. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but
they only have one.
Oh, I mean,
against the Buccaneers. Against the Buccaneers, when Tom Brady and the team basically were regressing.
Also,
one player. They had regular season success, back-to-back 13-win games.
Listen, bro, as a Dolphins fan, one playoff win is success for me. You know, I've been waiting for a playoff win.
The bar is so low.
Yeah, man. Like for me, it's low. I mean, I hate Mike McCarthy. I don't hate him as a person. I hate him as a coach, though. And I don't want to compare John Harbaugh to him, but I don't know yet, man. Like it's too early to tell. I just think they're gonna be a middle of the pack team.
Also, real quick, Raul, just to say that, like, unlike the Cowboys, the Giants don't have an owner who has a big ass ego and is gonna take over media. Just saying.
That is true. That is.
Raul, go ahead, brother.
That's a fact. All right, so I'm gonna do a quick segment. I respect John Harbaugh. Like I said, I feel like he can basically turn around this organization, make them relevant again, make them possibly not this year. Not coming next year, maybe 2 or 3, like Nick said, make them Super Bowl contenders. That also relies on the front office, what type of pieces they're surrounding Jackson Dart. Because I feel like Dart should be like the new face of the franchise. Like I believe in Jackson Dart. You got to understand that there's some players with expectations when they get drafted in the first round. They end up in bad situations, and that's not their fault. And then all of a sudden, they switch teams, and they become stars. We've seen it with Sam Darnold. He was contaminated with the damn New York Jets. We've seen other quarterbacks like move around different organizations and do a better job because they're in a better situation, better position. The expectations I'm gonna give them is at least the playoffs, because guys, it's $20 million a year.
Wild card?
$20 million a year. It's a 5-year, $100 million. Like, they're not gonna be paying him all that money just for them to basically give signs that, all right, we're getting better. Now next season, I'm talking about like what happens in the upcoming season. They're not expecting for them to be like, oh man, we were this close to the playoffs. No, they want to go to the playoffs, and they got the roster-wise defensive talent. Kayvon Thibodeaux. I know like a couple of those players have been prone to injury, but when you got, depending on what happens with free agency, obviously, with the defensive end, Chauncey Golston, you also have Dexter Lawrence. Abdul Carter was the third pick from them last season, coming from Penn State. Like, they got the actual pieces, Bobby Okereke, Paulson Debo. Like, that's why they had the expectations this year to at least be in the mixture to try to make it to the playoffs. At least. It's the same thing when we're talking about teams in the NBA. Like, all right, this team at least needs to make it to the play-in. At least. We're not predicting that they're going to be from the number 1 to the 6th position, but at least try to be in the play-in. And when you got an offense with Malik Neighbors, who definitely is a first option, sadly, their season and momentum changed after he got injured. And then it was a domino effect with a couple of other players. Cam Scatterbo, he could have been Offensive Rookie of the Year if he wouldn't got injured. And then you got Jackson Dart when he made his debut. Man, he wasn't the big reason they won the game, but he was a X factor. So depending also what other moves the front office do, like John Harbaugh basically was the biggest signing right now in the offseason, even though we haven't still ended the NFL. We still got the NFC and AFC championship game, which is going to be our second topic. Then we got the Super Bowl. But when you give somebody a 5-year, $100 million contract, this is the same expectations Monty Williams had with the Pistons, and he failed. So this could be actually a 50% for this individual as well.
I just don't see it. I don't see it for this season. That's just me, though. I mean, clearly you guys have the expectations.
All right, so you got expectations for 2 or 3 years. I got expectations to at least make it to the playoffs. Anthony has expectations for them to win the division, which for me is actually crazy.
Hey man,
last word for both of you.
Listen, I ain't no betting man, but I'm a bold man, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And guys, like, I'm not trying to disrespect John Harbaugh, but at the same time, you need to have the personnel, the right personnel around you guys. I mean, Monty Williams had those type of players in Detroit, but apparently he couldn't bring the beast out of them. Apparently he couldn't.
Still had Killian Hayes on that roster.
The roster, Anthony, I'm sorry, it wasn't for them to break the losing streak in NBA history.
That's true.
They reached 28 games. When somebody gets a 5-year, $78.5 million, that is a no-no.
Players did not respect Monty, and that's a personal thing. I don't know what goes on between those locker rooms, but they didn't respect him, and it clearly translated. So Harbaugh is a different guy. I don't think he's ever had a player drama like that. So I don't see an issue where he has issues like having a good connection with players.
Just to end this segment real quick,
yes,
and make a big announcement to the public. John Harbaugh's resume, I have it right over here. Regular season, 180 wins, 113. That is .614, which is good. Career-wise, he's 193 with 124 losses. That's still good with an average of .609. A lot of people are just going to criticize that he literally had the best offensive pieces in his whole career being the head coach of the Ravens, and he could not at least reach the Super Bowl. I think that's why the Ravens were moving on from him, the same thing that we just saw from the Bills with Sean McDermott. What did I say in the last podcast? Guys, I know the Broncos, I know the Patriots, I know the Texans. Whoever the Bills go through in the next 2 rounds before the Super Bowl, I know it's going to be really hard because it's against the best defenses of the league, but no Lamar, no Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes. Literally, even though they were not the favorite team, everybody said this is the only time Josh Allen can make it to the Super Bowl. And the owner made the call as soon as they lost. Sometimes coaches are the scapegoat, even though they don't deserve to be it. But it is what it is. This is the decade that we're living. Coaches are being fired, sometimes unnecessary. And so just to wrap up his resume, he's a Super Bowl champion, but he's only won 1 Coach of the Year. And he has the most road playoff wins and not making it to the Super Bowl after they won their second one last decade. At the same time, he's 13-11 in the postseason. I'm just trying to basically also at the same time understand, which I didn't agree.
Let's try to close this up soon, guys.
I didn't agree with it, but it is what it is.
8-9 season.
So like, I agree. Production, if we can have all 3 of us, thank you. All right, so I agree. Like, at least minimum playoff. Anthony's got the division, and you got them for at least 2 or 3 more years. Talent-wise, is also gonna be.
The team will get better over time.
It's gonna be very significant. So front office also gotta do their job. All right, guys. So we've been talking about it for a while. It's official.
Let's go.
We got our first sponsor in our sports show, and it's the Metropol Restaurant, which arrived at Miami 5 years ago. It's located at the Dolphin Mall. It offers the best Puerto Rican and Cuban cuisine. Traditional dishes like includes stuffed chicken, arroz poteado, which is going to be the best that you've ever tried. Very Latino, very Puerto Rican and Cuban, like I said, and congri with rice, mofongo, fried pork, and much more. I'm going to say it again. Metropol Restaurant is located at the Dolphin Mall in Miami. Thank you guys for being our first offensive sponsor. Maybe a couple more will be trying to join our podcast, but we are more than grateful. We've only been doing this now, starting our 7th month, episode number 25. So we appreciate you guys.
We do. Thank you.
We really, really do.
All right, so guys, let's go through our next topic, which I'm going to have a couple of feelings with this one because my team is in the AFC Championship game for the first time since 2018, and those are the New England Patriots against the Denver Broncos, who sadly lost Bo Nix for the rest of the playoffs. Jerry Stidham is going to be their backup quarterback. The Broncos still got an elite defense. Well, my bad. The best defense remaining in the playoffs. Offensively, they got their weapons, but it all depends on Jerry Stidham and the new game plan that obviously Sean Payton is going to have against the Patriots. Now, in the NFC, we've got the Rams and Seahawks, which I believe, obviously, is going to be the most interesting scenario. Nick, I'll give you the first word. What are your Super Bowl predictions?
Listen, man, at the beginning of when we first started this, I did say it was going to be Patriots and Rams, and I still think it can be like that. You know, the Rams are.
Thank you for proving me and Anthony wrong. We picked the Texans.
Listen, I got you. But the Rams, you know, I've been saying it since the beginning. They are dangerous, man. They have the best offense in the league. Obviously, the defense has some holes, but that offense, Matthew Stafford playing at an MVP level, how can you not fall in love with that offense? Yes, you're going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL as well. In Seattle, Legion of Boom 2.0, I like to call it, even though it's not the same, as does not hit the same. Sorry, Seattle fans, if I disrespected you. But I got the Rams winning this game. I think they're going to be the ones making it. And as of the Patriots, you know, I think the Broncos are going to win this game. I think Jarrett Stidham's going to come in there. He's going to shut up the Patriots. I think he's going to shut up the Patriots and show them, listen, I was on your roster. I was your backup. I understand I haven't been very good, but I hope we get to see a Nick Foles backup quarterback game where you get to see this insane defense back in a Super Bowl, and you get to see Jarrett Stidham leading the helm. Obviously, I have the Rams winning the Super Bowl. I think that's just a clear favorite in my eyes of who wins the Super Bowl. But give me the Broncos, man. Sorry, Raul. Even though, and I am wearing a Boston Bruins jersey. It's not a Boston Bruins, actually. It is a Happy Gilmore jersey. I would like to clarify.
Thank you for your take, Nicolas Antonio.
Oh, he's mad. He's mad.
Oh, he's mad.
Listen,
mad.
Bro, that's what you get for picking the Hoosiers. Who?
I was trying to be the kryptonite.
Oh, me too. Now I'm trying to be your kryptonite.
Listen, when it comes to the NFC side, I think we know Matthew Stafford. He's a great quarterback. That dude can pick on defenses like no other quarterback. But I think the Seahawks get this one.
Ooh.
If Sam Darnold can continue being even just decent, which he showed against the Niners, I believe that he was decent. I didn't say he was great. I said it was decent, Nick. But if you can prove that again and the defense holds strong, I see no reason why. The Rams, again, Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback. But that defense has been a killer for quarterbacks all season long. I don't believe this is a fluke. And I just think, given how they've had to overcome so much in these playoffs, I think they got this. I think they'll get this one. And on the AFC side, I don't believe in Jared at all. Drake May is gonna do his thing. That defense is gonna do their thing. Patriots gonna get that one, man. I think it's gonna be Seahawks and Patriots.
Who would have guessed that?
So it's interesting the scenario you guys are picking. Nick started with the Rams to be the favorite, and then I'll give my take on that against the Broncos. And then I would have thought he would have picked Rams and Patriots. That would be a 2018 Super Bowl rematch, which the Patriots won 13-3. And then Anthony, we got him picking Seahawks and Patriots, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Because to me,
that would be
the Broncos.
That would be the 2014 rematch. That would be the 2014.
The Broncos defense is great. Obviously, there's no denying it. But unless you can guarantee me they're gonna get like 3 pick sixes, I don't know how you're gonna get the scoreboard down, man.
So yeah, the scenario would have been interesting with Nick picking the Rams and Patriots 2018 rematch. Then the Seahawks and Patriots last time they faced the Super Bowl 2014. Both New England won. Obviously, everybody knows the Seahawks would have repeated that championship if they would have run the ball with Marshawn Lynch. That was Pete Carroll's fault.
You just want to give Seattle some PTSD right there? That's crazy.
Basically, I mean, he wanted Russell Wilson to be the hero. So that's why I expected like you guys to be on point. And Anthony, you're perfect.
Okay. I see how it is.
Nick, you picked the Broncos. So
are out, man.
Hopefully, exactly what I was trying to be with the Hurricanes opponents, a kryptonite. I said this to you guys in production meeting. I promise you, and I can talk to our sponsors. I'm gonna be out for weeks. You guys can share 50% of the pie. If the Patriots lose this game, there is no excuse. You see how
Raul is dodging this.
Days
after the Hurricanes lost.
No matter how elite Broncos defense is, because next to the Seahawks is the best. So it's understandable that Nick picked picked the Rams' best offense right now in the playoffs against the best defense remaining. But there is no excuse, literally. I don't care if Sean Payton is a more veteran coach than Mike Vrabel. Vrabel has won twice in his career, Coach of the Year. He has won Super Bowls as a player with New England. He knows what it takes to be a winner. And I got to remind you guys, Drake May had literally similar numbers as Tom Brady in his first playoff game. The same season, 2001, when the Patriots won their first Super Bowl. Second game, yeah, he made a couple of mistakes, but a lot of people are not giving credit to him for at least finishing with 3 touchdown passes, all to his wide receivers. Like, I know he had his mistakes, but at least he corrected himself with offensively producing. Now, the defense has been on points. The defense, what they did to Justin Herbert when they had expectations, because remind you guys, in this decade, the Chargers could have won that game they should have won that game against the Jaguars. They were up 28-3. They ended up losing 34-31, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, a lot of people criticized Brandon Staley for that. Then last year, he had 4 interceptions in that terrible loss. So one would expect that no matter if they're going against that dangerous defensive team of New England, he should have at least not been the reason what they lost. That defense has allowed in 2 games 19 points. Why isn't everybody talking about that, including 4 interceptions that they forced CJ Stroud to commit? One of them was a pick 6.
CJ got learn how to take a sack, man. That's crazy.
All right. And at the same time, 5 sacks towards him. So why is nobody giving credit to how dangerous this defense is? And if Drake May, he corrected himself a little bit the last game, if he just limit his errors, he's got the right pieces around him offensively, and you got Ramondre Stevenson, Tre'Von Henderson in the run game, taking a little pressure out of him. I'm sorry, Nick. There's literally no excuse for New England to lose this game against Jerry Stidham. You're comparing him to a Nick Foles. Reminder, Carson Wentz was going to win the MVP that season. He missed the last 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. So Nick Foles was basically charging. At least he played the last couple of games of the season, which they won, so he could be ready for the playoffs. And then look at the outcome. He surprised everybody by, I'm not saying outplaying Tom Brady, because reminder, Tom Brady had over 500 yards passing and the amount of touchdowns. He wasn't the reason. It was that surprising Patriots defense that was trash in that Super Bowl. And that Philly cheesesteak play that they did with Nick Foles, which then they tried with Tom Brady, and it didn't work. Exactly. It worked beautiful for Nick Foles and that offense. It didn't work the same way for Tom Brady and the Patriots. I'm trying to say is that was the worst defensive Super Bowl game we've ever seen in New England franchise history. Brady and the offense was not the reason why they lost that game. The only reason why I don't get nightmares, just to wrap this up, is because I'm glad that, rest in peace, the Black Mamba could enjoy that Super Bowl championship for the city that he mostly grew up with. That's the only reason why I don't get those nightmares, like the both losses against the Giants and what could have been against the Falcons. What I'm trying to say is that they got a beautiful defense that's actually been the factor why they are in the AFC Championship game. And with the Jerry Stidham who hasn't thrown a damn ball since 2023, if I have to be forced against my will to make another episode with you guys next week.
We know where you live, Raul. We know where you live.
Hey, I don't care where you guys know that I live. I'm not saying right now. I live in 325 South Biscayne Boulevard, 1 Miami condominium. It's not about that. It's about that I'm going to be with a back in my head for the nearest weeks, just like Nick was in one of our episodes. But it's not going to be only that episode. It's going to be for the foreseeable future. The Patriots have no reason to lose. So New England goes to the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, I got the Rams. Super Bowl predictions. Like, Nick already picked who he has winning. Anthony, did you pick who has a winning at all? Or do
in this case, oh, damn.
I mean, yeah, Nick already picked. I'm gonna go. Let's see what happens. What's the outcome with these 2 games? And then Nick could either reconsider or pick the same team.
I'm gonna go with the Pats. I appreciate like Sam Darnold and what he's doing with the oblique injury, but that can only go so far.
All right, so we can talk about the matchup after we see who, because the Seahawks could win it or the Rams.
Yeah.
No excuses for the Patriots to lose.
Well,
I'm sorry, but
if
the Broncos win, we still got to do our prediction since if obviously our predictions are not on point. But I got the Patriots and the Rams rematch from 2018. I got the Rams winning it all. Even though they basically being a little suspicious offensively, guys, they almost lost against the Panthers, and then and then they won 20-17 only against the Bears. I mean, I know the Bears could match with them offensively, so we give more credit to the Rams' defensive side on winning that game, but they went to overtime against Chicago, and the first win against the Panthers was not convincing at all. They could have lost that game. So at the same time, like, they're looking suspicious. They're looking suspicious.
I low-key thought Bryce Young had it in him, man. I low-key thought, man, when you have Cam Newton coming out, man, you were hyped, man. I was like low-key convinced that the Panthers would do it, man.
Very quickly, I just wanted to ask, Raul, what jersey sizes do you wear? Because I'm currently looking for Jarrett Stidham Patriots jerseys to buy you once the Patriots lose.
I'll take.
I also really
medium/large.
I got you. Well, I just also really like the story for the Broncos right now. Doesn't it seem like, it just seems too good to be true to not look at this, Like, obviously, yes, you can look at the numbers and you can say, obviously, the Patriots are going to win, which was my former prediction on the Patriots not winning the Super Bowl. I had the Rams from the beginning winning the Super Bowl. But doesn't this seem a little odd that, Jarrett Stidham, the former backup for the Patriots who just kind of casted him away, this guy's going to want his revenge, man. Yeah, he hasn't thrown a ball since 2023, but the story's there, man. I love a good story. And, maybe not the Indiana Hoosiers, but I love a good story. But, man, I think I think they can do it. With this defense, shout out to Gerard Bonito, by the way, brother of Nick Bonito. That guy was dope in my class. So I have to go for the Bonitos. Nice. I got to go for the Broncos.
Just to wrap it up, what are better ratings, though, Nick?
Oh, I mean, I don't care about ratings.
This is not NCAA. This is not NCAA. No.
Exactly. What do I look like? What do I look like, Raul? I'm a man of the people. That's what I consider myself to be. You think I care about putting money into all these people's pockets? No, I'm not talking about.
I'm talking about that. I'm trying, like, basically the hype, the real hype. A backup quarterback against a veteran quarterback, a superstar quarterback, a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Matthew, when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about a backup quarterback like Jerry Stidham against a Hall of Famer champion Matthew Stafford. That could be, he's going to be the MVP this season, and he's probably going to be two-time champion. Or a Drake May, who could be basically the future Tom Brady for New England, against the veteran Matthew Stafford and the Rams and the 2018, almost recently, Super Bowl rematch.
Give me the Rams. I got the Rams to win the whole thing, but let's go Bonitos. Let's go Broncos.
All right, let's go to the next topic. But before that, Anthony, do you have an announcement to make?
Yes, I do, brother. Yes, I do. Now, we record pretty long hours. At this hour, hunger is striking. But luckily, Metropol Restaurant has opened in Miami, right in Dolphin Mall, where you can enjoy the best Puerto Rican and Cuban dishes. Once again, Metropol Restaurant has opened in Miami at Dolphin Mall.
Amen. You guys are not gonna regret it. Let's go to our last topic, which is a sensitive one for all of us. It's a sensitive one for all of us. But still, I'm a Gator Nation. But like I told you guys, I support Miami teams. Like in basketball and hockey, I'm fully Miami committed. Florida Panthers, Miami Heat. I got a background story with the MLB. My whole family's Yankees. And in the NFL, the same thing, Patriots. But my second teams, I support the Marlins, the Dolphins, which actually could be one of the biggest celebrations that we've seen in South Florida if one of those teams can finally pull it off. But the Hurricanes actually had a little bit more hope than those two, one baseball and one professional American football team. So I know I gave Nick the first word in the last topic.
Yeah, Anthony. I need a second before we do this one.
All right, so I'll give it to Anthony, then I'll go, and then we'll let Nick finish it off. Anthony, so the Indiana Hoosiers, as you know, wins its first ever national championship game over the Miami Hurricanes, completing a historic undefeated season. Remember, everybody, we've seen teams finish undefeated, like the Michigan Wolverines 2 years ago. We saw Joe Burrow and LSU winning it in 2019. Remember, guys, the championship game is always a month after ending the year. So this season was the 2025 season. For the Wolverines, it was the 2023. And for LSU, it was the 2019. We've seen the expansion. So the Hoosiers actually ended up being undefeated with the most wins in not only program, but in college football history. So with all that said, where does this team rank among college football team? Anthony, we got to wrap it up in 5 minutes, so let's do as quick as possible. I'm going to give a quick take as well because I know Nick wants to finish this off.
I'll give it like at least top 3. I don't think they're the best. I say that only because
expansion.
Not just expansion, but also because when you look at the opponents that they faced, and granted, this is not their fault. This is the fault of the weird calendar of college football, the transfer portal. You look at Alabama, they couldn't run the ball. They were asked at that. So you had a team, you basically just had to hold the line, and then you're good from there. Oregon, they had no running backs. So again, another team who couldn't run the ball. They did pretty good against the Hurricanes at holding the running game up until the second half. But I don't know. I'm just not convinced I'm not too convinced in the journey that they had to get there and win it. So I'll give it like at least top 3. I'm still gonna keep LSU 2019 as the first one. They were super dominant. No one can match them up at all. So I give it to them, but I'll give Hoosiers at least top 3.
Okay. All right. So I was gonna agree with you, Anthony, because when you have Justin Jefferson, you got Jamar Chase, you got Joe Burrow, like that. All right. I'm gonna say that was the most perfect team. Can we agree with that?
Yeah.
LSU, like the most perfect, maybe not the most historic. It's gonna be in the top 5, minimum, maximum top 3. You got Joe Burrow, who won the Heisman. Last time a player won a Heisman and the Natty was him with LSU. Next to do it was recently Fernando Mendoza and this team. At the same time, Ed Orgeron was in his 3rd season with the team, so that was also impressive. And they dominated the SEC championship game against Georgia. Basically, when Kirby Smart afterwards was joining, that's when Georgia basically started turning around, because at the end of that decade, they could have won that national championship against Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts. You already know that scenario, that outcome, that comeback. I gotta say that historically, yeah, impressive. The schedule also is an X factor, like you just said, Anthony. I'm just gonna wrap it up saying this. I'm probably like the most wrongful person right now in this show. People are probably gonna be agreeing with you more, and then whatever Nick says, I gotta go with this decade's Michigan Wolverines. Guys, they suspended Jim Harbaugh for 5 games. And their assistant was the guy that just became the head coach and right now is facing a trial. That same season, they had so many obstacles to surpass. JJ McCarthy was not even a top 5, in my opinion, quarterback in that league. They rely more offensively in the run game with Blake Corum, and their defense which was the X factor, amazing. So with all the issues that they have inside and outside the field, especially with Jim Harbaugh being out for 5 games during the season, being suspended for 2 different situations, McCarthy not even being a top 5, even though he was a first rounder, Blake Corum basically breaking the rushing touchdown stat for the Michigan Wolverines. They still were not even the favorites to win it all. For me, that was like the most impressive season for a team to be undefeated and win a natty.
Nick?
I was going to agree with Anthony and Raul. I don't know. I definitely can't support that one. But, for the most part, man, I mean, I get your stats. I get where you come from. But that for me, and I don't want to be biased, but just purely alone, that 2001 Hurricanes are still my top team. And then number 2 is that 2019 LSU Tigers team. The LSU Tigers, they were averaging 48.4 points per game, one of the most elite offenses, one of the single greatest quarterback season we've ever seen from Joe Burrow that year, and they humiliated teams.
The best. Actually, the best.
I'm saying the single greatest quarterback season we've ever seen.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. But they were humiliating teams like Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, not Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, for example. They were really good. But that 2001,
the SEC championship game, they did humiliate Georgia.
No, that's what I'm saying. And but I look back at that 2001 Hurricanes team, man. Also going 12, they went 12-0, shorter season, shorter schedule, and just 17 first rounders on that roster. 17 first round prospects.
Ed Reed, Ken Dorsey, and Will.
And those are just some. Those are just some. They were the running back room that year was incredible. Willis McGahee, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, they were great. The Hoosiers this year, you look at this team and they have an average age of some NFL teams. These guys are in their 50s.
And yet they gave Carson Beck shit for his age.
Whoa! I mean, listen, man. It's okay on that one. Okay, he's only 23 years old, and I thought he was older personally. He's only 23, which is crazy to think about. And I don't hear.
Yeah, it's not the same like Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, man, exactly, dude, for real. Or even Jaden Daniels, who was 24 already, or Bo Nix, for example, who was already older by then. But this Hoosiers team, I would give them top 5. I don't see them behind I see them behind the Hurricanes, 2019 LSU. Even then, the 2004 USC Trojans, that team was great too.
That team, yeah.
I don't like to disrespect that team either. That was one of the best teams I've ever seen as I was little. And then right under them, I would put 2020 Bama. I think 2020 Bama would run a train on these Hoosiers. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean,
yes, you can make the argument.
We're talking about completing a historic season.
And Bama did. Bama went 13-0. They won all SEC schedule, by the way, all SEC schedule, and they dominated. They had a wide receiver win the Heisman, and they had 2 great quarterbacks on their roster.
Devontae Smith, yeah.
It was a very underrated team in my
opinion.
And
they dominated that national championship game as well. And they didn't have Devontae Smith in the second half because he got injured the first half after having 3 touchdowns.
1,000%. And even then, I don't even like bringing disrespect to the 1995 the Cornhuskers, Nebraska, for example, because that was a great team too. I don't know if a lot of you guys know about that team, but that was a beautiful, beautiful team. But this Hoosiers team, they were good, man. Mendoza made Heisman plays. I think we saw one of the greatest runs. I think we can all agree, as much as it pains me to say it.
I feel Miami, since we're doing that topic, I think they actually did a good job containing him. Compared to the 5 touchdown passes he had last game and the first rounder.
Listen, man,
which basically was the quarterfinals. The Miami defense did whatever it was in their hands.
1,000%. But again, that run that Fernando Mendoza had on the 4th and 5 in the fourth quarter when he
that
went
was the highlight. That was the highlight.
That was the greatest run that any of us have ever seen in God knows how long for football. It was one of the greatest runs.
You couldn't be mad at it. You couldn't be mad because, dude, he executed. He had the cojones to do it.
He was taking shots all night too. That's the crazy part. He was bleeding by the first quarter.
1,000%. That I'm sure Nick can agree with this with me. When you're on the Hurricane side of it, you just cannot be mad at that. He just did. He made the right. He still he broke damn near 3 tackles.
Bro, he had less than 200 yard passing
from the beginning of that.
And guys, his highlight was that, let's just say, key factor of them winning the game, that rushing touchdown. But you guys know that he had -8 yards running.
Yeah, but the stats don't mean anything at that point.
What I'm trying to say is that he executed in the most important moments when they needed him to, and he put that team in good positions, especially converting those third downs.
The Canes
fourth downs. There
were some cases that the Canes kept the drive alive. Like when we look at the topic of what went wrong for the Hurricanes, dude, that I don't blame him. Hang on, bro. I don't blame him. But when Ruben Bain Jr. jumped in the false start on a 3rd and 12, and he kept the drive alive for a touchdown, I believe that was the biggest knife to the chest. And I know I've been shitting on 87.
The picture says it all. That was the real momentum change.
That was momentum, but if you didn't allow, if your defense got off the field on that 3rd and 12, and they don't score that touchdown, we'd be looking at things very differently, even with this moment right here. And this is a painful last moment.
The field goal miss as well. The field goal miss.
50 yards. I mean, Carter Davis is just not that good.
Speaking of which, look, I have the kicker right next to me. Look, right here.
Dude, Carter Davis is not like that. You know, he's not a guy who can go 50+ yards.
It's a hard kick. Don't get me wrong. It's a hard kick.
It's a hard kick. Yeah, of course.
That 4th and 5, there should have been no reason why there wasn't a spy on the field. Because hear me out. The entire time we saw Indiana on those 4th down situations, even the 3rd down situations where it looked pretty long, they ran the ball down our throat. And we were not prepared because we were in zone coverage. On that play, we had our corners going to man and our linebackers going to zone. And as soon as you see Fernando Mendoza take off, they take the wrong angles to make the tackles. Why is there not a spy on him in that moment? Why? If you know that they're going to be running the ball or you think they're going to be passing, stop him. Put a contain on him at least. There was no contain on him in that moment in time on the defensive end. Again, great game by the defense. But that one moment, because I don't want to discredit the 3rd and 12. Yes, I get it, Anthony. That killed our momentum. Why wasn't there a spy or at least some quarterback contain in that moment? Like, why? I just don't understand. Like, we just allowed him to walk right up the middle of the field. Yes, he took like 4 hits on the way. Bring him down. We were struggling with missed tackles all night because we kept going for the ball on a team that does not make mistakes. So, and what did Indiana do? Every time we would dump it off short or run it, they would gather to the ball. The thing that they've been doing the best at all season.
Also,
Mark Fletcher and Malaki Tony balled.
I know it's not
both of them were over 100 yards. Mark Fletcher in running game plus a touchdown. Malaki Tony over receiving plus a touchdown. And guys, I know Mendoza executed in the most important moments for them, but Carson Beck, he did his work. He did a good job. The only thing he's going to be criticized is the interception. That interception, but even that, they're not putting the whole fault on him. Because I understand. No, they're not, Anthony. Everybody's talking about that block punts. I haven't seen any sports show right now say Carson Beck threw that game for them. Tell me one.
He did not throw that game for them. I'm sorry.
What is it? Give me one sports show.
Fans, bro.
Who cares about the fans?
No.
Fans, Anthony, you are a sports writer. Nick is in the sports industry. I'm in the sports industry. We are professionals talking bias, and basically we know when to blame an individual. Like, we are in this industry. Fans are not. They're just fans that basically are talking trash or what they basically don't know. Nobody I've seen in ESPN basically said Carson Beck threw that game for them. Nobody. They're going to be talking about the miss by Carter Davis. They're going to be talking about that punt block, which changed actually the momentum, even though we were actually close to basically completing that comeback. And then other scenarios from the defense, which they did everything that it was in their hands. But tell me, that's what I'm asking you, just to wrap up this show. Who is actually blaming Carson Beck? You said the fans. Who cares about the fans?
It just bothers me, man.
It
bothers me. Like, I know, like, I usually don't give a shit what people say, but it just bothers me just so much because if they view Beck as the reason,
it was a short pass. It was a little short pass.
It was
He could have thrown it long.
He admitted it was a short pass. Even Keelan Marion, like CJ Daniels, they knew that. But what bothers me is, like,
I'm not gonna say he's the reason why he lost.
No. What bothers me is
he played well. He played well.
If obviously quarterbacks get get everything. They get the glory and they get the get degraded.
You're right.
But my thing that kills me with people when they talk about Carson Beck in this game is when if it's his fault that they lost the game, it's also his fault that they even made there in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what? Repeat that.
If it was his fault that they lost the game, it's also his fault that they made it that far in the first place.
Let's not forget what happened at the beginning of that drive too, because a lot of people like to forget about this. Carson Beck took a shot, man, and even after the game in the post game, he was saying that the rest of that drive, his ears were ringing. Like he was out of it, bro. You could tell that he was shaken up. And yes, a lot of people like to complain and say, "Oh, but why didn't we bring in the backup, Emory Williams, for example, bro?"
No way! That was gonna be a blowout. That was gonna be a blowout for Miami.
Emory got no chance of making that pass.
There's no excuse for it. You let that guy play because he has the adrenaline momentum still. Yes, bad pass at the end of the game, but dude, the guy got rocked. And you can make the argument, "Oh, Mendoza's tougher." So what? Not every quarterback's built the same. It is what it is. I'm proud of this team.
Literally,
I'm proud of Carson Beck for what he did.
Beck battled through the whole game.
Yep. He battled the whole year. Man.
And at the same time, like guys, I'm not gonna basically, how do you say, instigate something. This is a podcast. There's no being headlines about this, but like Nick said, his ears was ringing. Like you never know, he actually had concussion protocol, and they're not gonna say that because Miami could get in trouble for allowing him to play the rest of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no proof, there's no evidence. The game was on Monday. Tomorrow, tonight is Thursday. So there's, what I'm saying, they could have evaluated that already. But I'm trying to say, you never know. He never went to the 10. Good point, Anthony. They never sent him to the carpet. So, you just never know that he was actually battling through it. And maybe they wanted to examine him. And he said, no, I'm good. Basically lying. Try to be a dog for that team. Try to basically be the MVP for that team. So that's why I applaud him. That's why I give him a pass from that interception. It is what it is. We've seen great quarterbacks, do that, like Russell Wilson in that Super Bowl against the Patriots, like I alluded to in the beginning of this show. We've seen others at the end of the day. So, my respect to Miami. What hurts is that they could have actually won that game. And with college football now possibly expanding it, which I disagree with it. They should allow at least 5 more years or even 10, a decade of a 12 team like they did when they expanded it in 2014 to 2 to 4.
I don't think they'll do it right away.
Give 10 years. They were actually talking about doing it next season, Andy. That's what I'm like.
I know they're talking about it, but the main thing that I'm hearing is because every other conference because this is between the Big 12 and the SEC. Yeah. So that's where things are not aligning. So I don't think they're going to.
And Notre Dame is not in a conference right now.
Notre Dame. I could listen. I've already said 20 bad words about Notre Dame. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut right now about them right now. But I think the whole thing with the SEC and the Big 12, I think they're not gonna agree with this too quickly. So I think we'll have at least one more year of this format, and then we'll see the following year. I just don't think they'll come to. I just me personally, I don't think they'll come to an agreement this quickly.
I feel like it's still, just to wrap it up, still should be a 10-year evaluation until they
this was dude. The games were amazing. This was the best format ever, man.
Compared to last year, yeah,
absolute cinema, absolutely, man.
Literally, and compared to last year, remember all 4 teams that made it bye week quarterfinals, they all lost. Until Indiana. So, and then you had a number 10 team, Miami, being the first one to reach all the way and almost win it. So, hey, credit to Mario Cristobal, Mike Fletcher Jr., Ruben Baines Jr., all them boys, Malaki Tony. To those who are declaring good luck in the draft, to those who are staying and still try to build a contending team for the nearest future. Hey, all about the youth.
Let go of your quarterback. I want to be with y'all.
But now I'm focusing on my Gators, so let's see how we do next year.
Hey, just message to Duke. Let go of your quarterback. He don't want y'all no more. Let him come over, man.
Yep, I agree with that. Well, guys, this was another excellent episode of Section 305, the Sports Show, number 25. quarter. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleagues Anthony Aguirre and Nick Dupont. We'll see you guys next week to talk what happens in these two AFC and NFC championship games, which we already gave our prediction. Let's see the outcome and whatever big news we see around sports. See you guys next week. Oh, man.